slow it down. Don't be a hero. We're not trying to save as many frames as possible. We're just... Okay. I'll just wait 20 seconds. I mean, you really only have to wait about 19. Actually, a little bit less than 19. But... Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Okay, Wednesday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, very good. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. ASS. Okay, I just have to remember if it's Saturday or Wednesday. This is Wednesday. Yeah. Yep, I'm just trying to finish my autism with this game, pretty much. There's only like 6 endings to do, and it's pretty simple. It's Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah, I'm still like planning on doing that. It's just that It's better to finish up all these little ones first, because that's a big routing challenge, and I haven't taken the time to do it yet. So I'll do that. Probably, I don't know. Maybe September, maybe like first week of September. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, December the 1st. Yeah, probably like. Are you trying to get this on YouTube? Is that your goal here? Which part? I mean, again, I have a whole spiel, but you gotta let me track these days first. I'll get to it. Okay, when I trigger the next cutscene, I'll have to wait until 2 p.m. So, if you let me get to the next Saturday, that'll be in 3 more interactions. I'll give you my spiel. But which part? I mean, if you have a specific question, then I'm happy to answer it. My main point was, it's not just suspect, it's highly, highly, highly dubious. Hang on. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, in my opinion, highly, highly, highly dubious that someone who is highly, highly educated and is telling the truth about, you know, some historical fact or something that they did. What the heck? If they're smart enough, if they're that smart, then they understand when they're saying something that appears inconsistent, so they will immediately jump in and say, okay, I know you're probably wondering this, so let me explain why that's not Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Let me explain why that, you know, why that's, you know, why you might be wondering about this. And, in fact, that's not what you find. What you find is actually just a lot of dodging when specific questions are actually asked. But my original point is actually just that the question shouldn't even have to be asked first, because it's obvious that there's some inconsistency. So they would volunteer that information if they were being totally forthright. Because, you know. Anyway, but we'll get to that in just a minute. This is perfect for YouTube. This is exactly what I needed on my channel. This is how I'm going to get all those. This is how I'm going to become YouTube famous. Wait, okay, so Thursday, Friday. I really don't want rain here. Saturday, good. Okay, so that should be 10. This should be 10 interactions. And this should be the second and third cutscenes, since they can be triggered on the same day. He should be right here, yep. Okay, so what I was saying is, it was more of a question, I guess. I was saying, because I'm still open, the moon landing is one of those that's like, what people frequently say to me is they say, well, you know, what you're saying makes sense, and, you know, I can see where you're coming from, but probably if they're really lying about what you're saying, what I'm saying, you know, they actually went to the moon, they just didn't show it, right? You know, the evidence they showed us was faked, but they really went to the moon, they just didn't really, like, tell us about the real mission, they just came up with a fake mission. And you know what? That's kind of neither here nor there. I'm open to the possibility, I'm open to a lot of possibilities, more so than I am with a number of other things. 9/11, sorry, I'm like sold that it was entirely staged act of pseudo-terrorism in order to instigate a war. But we don't need to go into that. My point is, with the moon landing, I'm open to being convinced. So it was more of a question, which is of a pretty well-known interview I don't remember. This was for some like Discovery Channel special or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but it was a NASA employee or something like that, and it was, I've seen it on YouTube. I'd have to find it again, where the guy is talking about a return trip to the moon, and he's saying, you know, after being posed the question of like, what do we need to do to get back to the moon? He says, you know, well, if we're gonna do a return trip to the moon, no, you're right. I completely grant you that. I mean, I can think of a number of reasons why they would fake the moon landing, and in fact, I'm sure these are the reasons. But it's very, you have to think like, wow, they went to those lengths to do that. Like, the reasons are less clear, are less like out in the open. Anyway, so this is an honest question to you. So the guy says, you know, for us to get back to the moon, we're gonna have to solve some problems. One of those problems being the Van Allen radiation belts. You can research these. The Van Allen radiation belts. These are actually 2 belts, I believe. I think it's 2 around the Earth of intense radiation. That if I remember correctly, I think they're the interaction of solar winds and the magnetosphere, the Earth's magnetic field. He says we're going to have to solve this because these would be deadly for our astronauts, and you know, potentially damaging for our electronics, the electronics on board the spaceship, or on board the spacecraft. And of course, then he just leaves it at that, and that's the first thing. There's like another thing that he says after that. Hang on, let me make sure I timed this correctly. Okay, call it 16:30. And of course, okay, ... silence, crickets. Okay, what's the question that comes to the mind of a curious and astute listener? The question is, okay, these Van Allen radiation belts, how did we get through them the first time? And not only that, but we didn't just get through them, you know, 10 years ago or 20 years ago. It was 50 years ago. Actually, it was 60 years ago now. This is from a number of years ago, this particular interview. Right? So, wait a minute. How did we do that? Like, so then my point is, my point to you, my question is, first of all, well, okay, rephrasing. My point is, in my opinion, that's a very obvious thing that comes to mind based on the way that this thing that he said was phrased, because he's talking about a return, the context of the conversation. You have to think of it from kind of a discourse perspective. From a discourse perspective, the context is, we've already been to the moon in literally the year 1969. Okay, hang on, I'm gonna have to actually count days again. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We've been to the moon in the year 1969, right? And we didn't just go there one time and like barely make it. We went there supposedly like 6 times, okay? Between like 1969 and 1972, okay? So a long time ago now. And especially in terms of technology, that's a long time, right? So an astute listener, their immediate thought is, since the context is a return to the moon, their immediate thought is, he's posing this as a very serious problem. He's posing this as an obstacle that is not just like optional, like we'd like to solve this problem. He's posing it as, we must solve this problem. This is a non-negotiable obstacle to going to the moon, which means, barring any other information that you know he's not providing to us. Hang on. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, fuck, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, damn it, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. He's presenting this as a non-negotiable obstacle that, so barring any other information from him that he's not telling us, the implication of that, talking from a logical perspective now, is we have already solved this problem before. So because these are very intelligent people who are talking to people who are, you know, at least conceivably interested in knowing, you know, this is for people who are curious about science, right? This would occur to him that his interlocutor or listener would be wondering, would reason through this implication, and they're probably wondering, so if this is a non-negotiable obstacle, wait, fuck, Friday, Saturday, shit. I completely agree with you. I completely agree with you. 100% completely agree with you. It's very suspicious that that's not what's ever said. That's a very simple answer, and that's also a perfectly acceptable answer. But it's never said. It's always dodged. So that's number one. But that's just. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Completely agree with you. Hang on, I'm literally almost at the end of this run, and then I will. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, come on, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It's just the variance in this ending is so annoying. So I just lost like more than just one day. You lose like a week to that. Like that's so annoying. Wait a minute. Yeah, it's a Saturday, right? Yes. Okay. Yes, believe me, I've heard that. I've heard that explanation. Yep, I've heard that explanation. Yeah. I'm talking specifically about this one interview, which I would have to find, and the way that it's posed as. Hang on. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Hang on, I'm just gonna have to finish this run really quick. This is Wednesday, so he's over here, and then I hope I counted correctly. I'll see if I can find that interview, because I'm paraphrasing. I don't want to present it in a misleading way, so I'll see if I can find that specific interview in just a minute. This will be like another just a few minutes before I get to the credits, as long as I can do the stupid flute minigame. And as long as I count it correctly, but that should be 15. And then the day after the 15th interaction, exit the house, and okay, so we should be getting a cutscene here. If not, that's a reset, and I'll find that anyway. Well, that's fine. I'm sure that you think that. It doesn't matter to me what you think about this. It's but there's at least like 3 other things I was saying last night. I don't know how close you were listening to them, but it's okay. We're doing this minigame. Let's do this. This is actually harder than it looks. Also, I would love to be proven wrong about this. I mean, there's not really proving it one way or the others. Wow, that's pretty good. This is much harder on emulator, I just realized. Yeah. Got him. Okay, that's pretty good. That was actually really good. That might be the best I've ever done it. Can we cutscene, please? Is that it? Hello? Okay, that was good. That was good. No, I missed more than that. I missed probably like, I feel like I missed like 3 or 4. I think it's a percentage. I think you only need like, it honestly feels like you only need like 60%. It's tough on emulator though because I think there's a little bit more lag, and you're actually not timing the audio cue. You're actually timing a visual cue. So when the note passes through the silhouetted note, that's when it lights up for a second, and that's when you want to press the direction. Well, maybe I did better than I thought then. Now this is just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Damn it. This is rainy season, so I can't do anything about this. This is why this route sucks, though, but I mean, it's like, it doesn't, this is what I should say, the route doesn't suck. This is what sucks about this route, and it's just simply that if it happened to be faster to just fit in to just gift him every day, then you would just reset for, I don't know, finishing the route by the first rainy season, which actually you couldn't even do that anyway, but it would just be a little bit less variance. But I lost probably a total of, I'm not even sure actually how much. Okay, so we'll just match to this text and then we'll get the credits. Actually, I can't remember if there's any text in this. Oh yeah, there is. Okay, so I'll see if I can find that interview, but setting that aside, the other one that's really strange is the whole Saturn V rocket thing, where a NASA spokesperson, and this one's pretty easy to find. I could probably find this one a lot easier. I know I can picture the guy's face. I'm actually just gonna Google the words he uses because I can remember like how he phrases it. Painful process, Saturn V. I swear this is what he said. Yeah, okay, here we go. Yeah, here we go. Forbes, December 11th, 2015. Title of the article. So, keeping in mind, this is like sort of to your comment just now where you said, you don't ever solve engineering problems, you just solve them better or worse, right? And so maybe they would just like a better solution. So, haven't read this article yet, I've never read this, but title is, How We Lost the Ability to Travel to the Moon. Already, to me, I mean, it depends on what counts as a red flag for you, but sorry, I'm already like, oh wow, how would you do that? Okay, why does it take 3 years to develop a new car when it shares 90% of its DNA with the previous model? Why does it take 6 years to develop a new airplane when it shares 90% of its DNA with the previous model? The answer is that they are complex devices. A launch vehicle and spacecraft designed to go to the moon is much more complex and operates at the edge of the envelope. Now, keeping in mind, so this person is giving an account that is supposed to jive with the official story, which is we went to the moon 6 times in the late 60s, early 70s, and we somehow lost the ability to do so. So this is reasoning that he's presenting. It may or may not be very good reasoning, but ultimately what I'm trying to get across to people, maybe to you, whoever I'm talking to at the time, is of course they're going to give reasons why what they're lying about is not a lie, right? And if I challenge people to actually filter the information themselves. I don't believe that most people do that. I'm not necessarily going to say one way or the other whether you do, but the majority of people I talk to, probably 95% of them, all they do is point to, well, but this authority told me this.
So that's how I'm filtering all the information that I get from here on out, which is a tautology. That's tautological thinking, circular reasoning. Then there's no way out. If you are being lied to, let's take for granted that you are, there would be no way to figure it out because you're accepting reasoning from the same person who lied to you in the first place. So if you even want to entertain the notion that you could be being lied to, you immediately have to throw that out the window. I'm not calling you stupid. I don't think any of these people are stupid. It has nothing to do, very little to do with actual intelligence. In fact, more educated people are more likely to fall prey to this. I'm just going to say that. I don't know. Yeah, it's a very weird thing. Got to mash through this text. Hi, YouTube. Okay, well, unfortunately, I've had a lot of conversations with some very highly educated people, and yeah, I'll read this article. I've never read this one. This is from Forbes. I'd have to find, actually, I posted an article to Facebook like a year ago that I found very, very, very strange. Just the way that they talk about it. Yeah, I definitely won't redo this run. This is like one and done. This could be beaten with slightly better rain luck. I mean, you'd have to pretty much. The ideal run would just even get no rain during the rainy season, Wednesday, Saturdays, obviously. So that's like, and optimally you would have more Saturdays than Wednesdays. And I think it's actually, you couldn't do just Saturdays because there's not enough Saturdays on the calendar. Well, actually, there's just barely enough Saturdays, but if you got any rain, then it would be a reset. And several of the Saturdays overlap with at least a rainy season, if not a mild, or at least a mild season, if not a rainy season. Okay, well, this is good that at least my math worked out because I pretty much I haven't tested this yet, I just used a spreadsheet, and it was accurate, so. I feel like I split a little bit early, but we'll leave it at